Hey, and welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Today I wanted to show you a trick that I do for cutting out text on my machine. Now, text can be a little bit frustrating when you want to cut out individual letters because when you go to put it on your project, it could be hard to line up, it could be hard to space. If you're using a script font and you cut it out and weld it, it's all together, so it's really easy. So I'm going to show you what I do to overcome that and make like a cute little design element in the process. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. So if I was to type out the word happy, and if I was going to use a script, and one of my favorite scripts to use is Milkshake, obviously, let me zoom in here for you. As you can see, if it cuts like that, it's going to cut into each letter, so obviously we need to weld that. And you have a pretty straightforward text. But if you want to type out birthday and you want the birthday, if you want to use this type of font and you don't want to use a script font, then you have to worry after the fact about lining the letters up so that they all line up on the bottom and then they're all spaced exactly the same. That takes a lot of work. So this is what I do. So happy seems good for me. Let's take birthday. And I'm going to use just Arial because that's fine. This is just an example. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is just set up my design, get my proportions right. So I'm just going to hold down the double arrow here, just nudge it in until I'm approximately close to 2.5 that I can get. That's good for me. The second thing I want to do is create, actually size this down to what I want as well. So let's say happy birthday. So that looks about good to me. So I want to create a box around this. So let's create a box. I'm going to select both of these, and I am going to make sure the box is centered. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I need a copy. So the first thing I need to do is make a copy of the box. So I held down the Alt key and then I dragged it over. So there's a copy of the box, and now I want a copy of this text. So I selected both of them, held down the Alt key, and I dragged off a copy of that. Alright, now let me zoom in a little bit here so that you guys can see this. So if my machine was to cut this now, it would cut the box and then it would cut around each of these letters. And when it does that, it also, obviously if this letter is cut out, these inside pieces are all gone. So this is what I do. That's why I made a copy, and I'll show you. The first thing to do, and you don't have to do this, but if you don't do this, then your machine's going to go ahead and cut the outside of the letters, and it's going to go ahead and cut the inside of the letters, and it's a waste of time cutting when you really don't need these. Plus, if you do it the way I'm going to show you, you can also have a visual on the screen before you cut it. So the first thing we're going to do is remove out any of these inserts or insides of letters that have it, such as the B, the R, the D, and the A. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these centers out of each of these letters, the B, the R, the D, and the A. And in order to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup my text. And then I'm going to just double click here, and now I have my little point editor on, and I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to delete these out. And this gives you a good idea on what it's going to look like when it cuts on the machine anyways. So here's the D. I'm just double clicking to get all the little dots to show up, and then I'm moving over here to my point editing window and then clicking the delete button until they're gone. One more. Great. So now you can see we have birthday. Now the important part is I'm going to highlight it all and I'm going to group it. Alright. The second thing you're going to do, and this is, you don't have to do this, but because it will cut perfectly fine in the color that you want, and it will cut out the letters, but in order for you to see it on the screen, you also need to make sure your design is highlighted, right-click it, and make it a compound path. And let me undo that, and I'll show you why. So if I was to fill this with color right now, a brown, the entire scene turns brown. But if I select it all, and I make it a compound path, and then I go ahead and select the brown, it takes into consideration that text. So that's kind of why you would want to do a compound path. So now let's go down here, and we're going to do the opposite of what we just did. So anything that we want to remove all the outside pieces of the character, but leave the insides. So if it's a regular text font that does not have an inside cut, like the I, the T, the H, and the Y, then we can just still remove those altogether. But we want to just keep these outlines. So again, I'm going to ungroup the text, double click it, and delete these outside points. I don't need the I, so I can delete the I. Let's go ahead and remove the outside of this R. I don't need the T, I don't need the H. Let's get rid of the outside of the D. Let's get rid of the outside of the A. And we can remove the entire Y. Perfect. So now, again, I want to select all of these, right-click, make a compound path. Okay? And I can fill that in with yellow. Alright? So let's zoom out here. Now, we have our two boxes that I just edited, and then we have the third box. What you're going to want to do is this third box, you want to make the same color as your actual text box. So in this case, we have this brown color. I'm going to go ahead and select it, and I'm going to make it the same brown color. Now here's where the fun part comes. This is going to be my top piece, this is going to be my middle piece, and this is going to be the bottom piece. So let's do that. So if I click on that, I'm going to make sure that that's on the front, so I'm bring forward. Then this one is I'm going to make sure that this one I send to back. And I'll line these up in a second for you. And this one I want to make sure is in the very back. And so let's send that to back as well. And now when I highlight all of these together, and I'm going to center them all, you can see I have a perfect word. And so if you cut the 3 layers out, you layer them all together, you can put this on a card, and now all your text is in a row, it's all spaced perfectly, and you don't have to worry about it. And then you also could cut out the happy, and then just kind of like, let's bring that to the front. And let's make that a green. Just showing you some different things here. And you can put that on top of the text. And yeah, you have a happy birthday. And it didn't take very long. It only took us a few minutes to do, but I think that in the end it saves you a lot of hassle trying to space and align the individual letters on your own. So I will go ahead and cut this out, and I will show you how I glue these together. So I will be right back. Alright, have my pieces cut out, and so let me show you how I put them together. So as we talked about in the software, your top and your bottom pieces are the same color, and then your center piece is actually going to be what your text color is that you want. So if you line these up together, get them all put together, this is what you have. So let me glue these together. So I'll show you. The easiest thing to do is to put glue on the back of this one first, so that you can avoid the cutouts. And glue that onto this one. Got a little bit in there. And then put glue on the back of this one, so you could avoid the openings on this one. And then put this on top of here. And there you go. And now you've got a cute little birthday greeting or little sign, and you didn't have to line up the bottom, space them apart, and then you can glue this right here as well. And you got a couple different types of text, and I think that's really cute. And you can put this on the front of a birthday card, you can put it on a project. There's a bunch of things that you can do with this, and it really didn't take much time at all. And so I hope you enjoyed this and have a great day. Please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.